Have you ever heard of somebody who abducts little boys?
Room below's got some horrible smells.
We don't want to go in there.
What are you doing?
Complimentary room service. There is that.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Dads.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us again. This is your first time watching us. This is a half-hour chat show where we talk about a movie that we've watched and we share our thoughts and opinions with you fine folks. If this is not your first time watching, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We also put this on as a podcast. So if you're listening to us, thank you for listening. This is a visual show though. So Mr. Newly Dead does a lot of editing and fun things on the screen. So we highly recommend that you find us, and you can do that by going to our website, which is thenewlydeads.com for all of your Newly Deads needs, all of your spooky things. On there, you'll find information about all of our shows. Besides this show, we do some different YouTube videos. Mr. Newly Dead over here, he does a lot of unboxings. As you can see with the movies behind us here, he likes to collect things. So you'll see lots of information about the movies that he's watching, different boutique Blu-ray labels that he likes to collect from. And yeah, he likes a variety of different kinds of movies, not just spooky ones. A lot of them are like action, kind of shot on video, different things like that. We also write blogs, so he does do movie reviews on a blog post, and occasionally I'll do some blog posts. It's been a hot minute, but I'll do different reviews on small businesses, some local artists and things like that. And occasionally we do events, so you'll see information about that. We do have an event that's coming up in October, which we like to plug all the time, which is the Witches Market that's put on by Wolf Hollow, and it is at the Boone County Fairgrounds. That will be, I think, October 5th or something, or 4th.
I think it's the 4th this year.
I think it's the 4th this year. But the information will be on our website for that as well. So I think that's it for that part of the housekeeping notes. We did watch a movie, and we do have some criteria for that movie. So there are a few things that we make sure that we have guidelines for. The first is it needs to be under $5. It needs to be a horror, thriller, or sci-fi genre movie, and it needs to be a movie that neither of us have ever seen before. So this week, we got this movie. Is this the one we got from Beach Boy Toys?
Beach Boy Toys.
Yeah.
Beach Boys Toys.
Beach Boys Toys, because it's
The Beach Brothers.
It's the Beach Brothers. Yep. So this movie is called Hell's Gate 1111. Interesting little something that we watched.
We have thoughts.
Yeah. I think this is the one that has it was a Blockbuster movie. Yeah, back in the day. It's got a Blockbuster case. Which I thought was very comical. But yeah, I think I can go ahead and I'll read the synopsis. Does that sound good to you?
Let's do it.
All right. And I forgot to do that. All right. So 18 years after the brutal murder of her parents, Sarah Tobias is haunted by the nightmarish image of the numbers 1111 scratched in blood next to their bodies. When paranormal events wreak havoc on Sarah's small town, she's trapped in a terrifying journey of horror and fear, sucked into the mouth of hell, the 1111 prophecy. This unbelievably frightening film will keep your heart pounding and your eyes glued to the screen. On the top, it just says scary as hell, but it does, sometimes it'll say like by Joel Kenyon of the Newly Dead's website. One day. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing if somebody put like a funny little like blurb or whatever on one of their DVD cases that you did?
Fartastic.
It's fartastic. It also says a terrifying journey into the paranormal.
But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's the movie that we watched this week. And I think it's about that time to watch the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the trailer this week, I'm trying to think here. I'm just going to make it easy. Let's do an old school like truck, like what you used to do back in the day, like a old school like trailer that does a little honk honk for us.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's coming in from your side.
Okay.
That sound good?
Sure. Why
It
not?
makes it easy for you, doesn't it? Go back to the olden days instead of, weird things that I like to make him pop up on the screen back in the day. And so we're going to watch the trailer. We'll pause it so you can watch it also. And then we'll be back to talk a little bit more about our thoughts on the movie. So again, I just want to make sure that you understand that this is not spoiler free. So if you are in the mood to watch Hell's Gate 1111, it's been a hot minute since it's been out, I believe, since it is a blockbuster movie. So go find it and then come back and watch it. But if you're okay with a little bit of spoilers, I'm sure you won't remember the stuff that we're talking about anyways. So, All right. We'll be right back.
Surprise! No!
When I heard about Lydia, I was afraid. I guessed you were off your medication.
Stupid.
Sarah, we don't want the trouble to start again, do we? Be careful what you wish on others. Sarah!
Stupid. The thing that killed him is coming! It's not human!
Don't you see it?
No, I don't see anything! Hi. Stupid.
I'm done.
We're back. Joel, what you got?
Whenever we watch a film, I'd like to take notes so it gives a little guideline as far as what we're talking about. And at the end of the year, Mrs. Newlywed takes them all, puts them into a flip book, puts them on our website that we mentioned earlier. And so you can check out 2023 and 2024 on the website.
Yep.
This year, Mrs. Newlywed also said, hey, I'm going to take notes the entire year. And so far,
So good.
she done it.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'll show her what I've got here, and she'll say, describe what's there, and then you can see it at the end of the year if you want to go.
Yeah, I think we might be, since we're a little closer now, they might be able to see it.
Maybe.
I'm going to sneeze. I was going to say,
Bless
I'm gonna
you.
sneeze. Excuse me. It looks like a ghost with a flower.
Yep.
And it says ESP.
Yeah,
And
'cause they were
that's
talking about ESP a lot.
And that's all I see,
I
right?
just thought it was a cute little ghost. Yeah, that's
He is
all I
cute.
drew this time
Yeah.
because I was so involved in the movie that I just,
It's adorable.
I couldn't do anything but take notes.
And then I also took notes and I drew a couple of things. I am still doing the 30 days to draw. I'm a little over the 30 days of it, but I'm not too far away. I'm getting close to the end of the book. But it is You Can Draw in 30 Days by Mark Kistler. And so I drew this thing here.
Yep, little castle.
I did a
thing.
2-point perspective building, and so I learned how to draw in 2 points perspective, and then I drew
Oh yeah, Sarah.
Sarah. It says, "Don't follow me, Seth," and then he says, "But I loves you." Yeah, it's me, Seth.
Seth. They were interesting characters. Sarah kept making this face or something. You'll probably
I was
see it in
like
the
this.
trailer. Yeah. But I've got information about the actress that played Sarah that might surprise you.
Oh,
So anyway, Hell's Gate 1111, also known as Hell's Gate, also known as 1111, from 2004, currently sitting at 3.6 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database. This is directed and co-written by Michael Bafaro, and all of these films he wrote and directed. So we have The Devil's Ground.
Is that like coffee?
Oh, that'd be a good name for a coffee company.
The Devil's Ground.
Driver from Hell. Seems to be a theme here.
A lot of hell movies.
Hell movies, yeah. And 5G, The Reckoning.
5G?
The Reckoning.
Huh.
Yeah. And then for writing, which he also directed, The Barber, which should probably
Like
be
the
paired
Demon
with The
Barber
Stylist.
of Fleet Street.
Oh. Don't look Amy. Sorry, not away. Don't look Amy.
No.
I don't know who Amy is or why you don't want her to look, but don't look.
Don't look.
Amber's Descent.
Okay.
Probably into hell, I'm guessing, because
Yeah.
everything else is into hell. And something just simply called Flu. As in chew, not like flew
Like
away.
as in my sneeze.
Like
I don't
yeah,
have the flu.
she doesn't
but,
have the flu.
No, I just.
This was also co-written by Pat Burmel, who wrote Ripper and Ripper 2, Letter from Within. Wonder what that's about. Stag. And let's see, Invitation. And that is 100% of their filmography.
Nice.
This was also co-written by Evan Taylor, who wrote something called AMI, which I'm guessing is Amy, and it's an acronym, so it probably stands for something like an Android, maybe. For a Few Lousy Dollars.
That's another name of a movie?
Yep.
Okay.
Probably maybe something like For a Few Dollars More, and the Clint Eastwood, Sergio Leone movies.
Mm-hmm.
They also helped co-write Ripper and Stag, and then something called RZ.
Okay.
So this stars one Laura Mennell, the aforementioned Sarah,
Yes.
who is currently starring in the theaters. You can go see her right now in The Monkey,
Oh,
the Oz Perkins film.
really?
Yep. She's also in Hard Ride to Hell,
She's
Another-
on a hard ride to hell.
another Hell movie. She's in a movie that Mrs. Newly Dead loves and watches every single year called Trick or Treat.
Oh.
Yep. She was in another movie that Mrs. Newly Dead likes, 13 Ghosts.
Huh.
She was
Really?
one of the ghosts. And she was in something called, that's weird. My handwriting is weird, but it looks, Flight 93, which is, I'm assuming maybe based on the
flight
the
that
9/11
crashed. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was United 93, I think, which is on the shelf back there, the Paul Greengrass movie. But I'm assuming Flight 93 is like the Asylum version or something. I'm not sure. I'll put it up here and you guys can decide. This also stars Kathy Wesseluck, who is primarily a voice actor who has 211 credits. So I'm
Wow.
not putting any of her credits here. Just go look her up.
That's a
And
lot.
Probably, if you've seen a cartoon sometime in the last 20 or 30 years, you've probably seen her work. And finally, Michael St. John Smith, which I had to put him on there because he had a long name, who was in Spotlight on Christmas, A Timeless Christmas, and Family for Christmas, as well as a bunch of other stuff. But he did a lot of Christmas movies, so I
It
guess he's
sounds
a
like it.
Hallmark favorite. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But I just put him in there strictly because of the fact that he had a cool name and he did a lot of Christmas movies. So at this point, Mrs. Newly Dead turns to me and says,
What did you think?
okay. So, first of all, this film had trailers before it, which was kind of fun. There were only two very different trailers and didn't really tie in with the movie at all, but
Yeah.
they were interesting. There was also a Spanish subtitle track, but that was it. Nothing else.
It was weird. Yeah. It even says it on the back of the movie that it's got Spanish subtitles.
Yeah. I don't know why they made a point of saying that. Some movies don't have subtitles, especially ones you get from like the Dollar Tree and stuff.
We like watching things with subtitles though, because sometimes, if somebody's a low talker, you can't understand what they're saying, like that kind of thing. Like we're old. So, sometimes we like to read what we're watching. Yeah. Yeah, just like that.
So it starts out with some random convicts showing up at this house with this family has just moved into. Like there's nothing in the house but hardwood floors and the people that live there.
It looks like a old timey
Like a farmhouse almost.
farmhouse that was like abandoned. Like the little girl ends up in some weird room, but it didn't look like a closet. I mean, maybe it was a closet or like a crawl space kind of thing, but it was like this strange little room with like really old wallpaper and
It
like
was wallpaper.
no windows in it, no doors to it except for the one to get into it. But there was nothing like a place to hang anything. It was just this weird. I said it was a room that
Like
would be a staring wall room.
Side room. I don't know what
Yeah, it
was going
was it was odd.
on. And she earlier on, right before this happened, she's out in the field playing with a little girl for like, I don't know, 5 minutes before mom's like, get in, it's time for dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
She said it nicely. But so she's like, help me. Because, her dad's already been shot and her mom is currently
Well, she was playing with the little girl. She came in, and then so she was inside,
right.
and then the mom was like, "There's these two dudes walking up the driveway."
She's like, it must be the neighbors.
Well, no, she was looking, and then he's like, "Can I help you guys?" And then the mom like looks down at this newspaper, and there was like a mugshot of these two dudes that were like, "These convicted felons are on the loose," kind of thing. And then she like looks and then looks at them, and she's like, "Get inside!" to the dad or whatever, and then he gets shot.
And then she gets killed.
Yeah.
And then the girl's like, help me. Because I think she realized that the little girl she was playing with was a ghost, or she just was hoping somebody was going to help her out in the middle of nowhere.
No, she had a gun. She didn't say help me. I don't
Well,
think.
she shot the first guy.
No, she didn't.
Oh, I thought she pulled the gun up, and it was kind of weird.
It was
Like,
weird.
But
So like to me it looked like
it was confusing.
it looked like to me, so she was standing, she was in the weird room with the wallpaper, and then there was like a case that was in there, so just like a weird luggage, and it fell over, and then a gun fell out, and so she's like 7, and she picks up this gun or whatever, and she's like pointing it at him, and then all of a sudden he gets killed, but it looks like he gets killed from the back end. And then all of a sudden the other guy's like there or whatever, and then he gets like also killed or whatever, and so she's like, what the heck, kind of thing.
So I wrote Ninja Ghost.
And you don't see who kills them.
You see the little girl afterwards, like
Yeah.
in the background. That's why I called
Yeah.
her Ninja Ghost, because she
She's
like
a ninja ghost.
apparently just killed them. So then fast forward, boom, she's grown up. Like they don't tell you how many years have passed. Just
Well, kinda,
she's an adult now. and
because they
she's
said it
making
had
faces.
been 15 years or
But
17
do they
years.
say it in the film?
They did 18 years.
Oh, I don't remember
Yeah.
them showing it in the film. Maybe I was taking notes at that point.
18 years, but
So I was writing
she
Ninja
was in
Ghost.
college, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she was 7 when that happened, so she'd be like 25.
Maybe she was getting her doctorate.
It could have been at the end of her, college too. Sometimes people, if you wait a little bit.
Or
yeah.
maybe she was just visiting.
I'm
'cause
not
she was an
judging.
alumni.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
judging. No, she was going to college there because, like, remember she went to some party with that guy and he was like trying to
So the
assault her.
timeline is a little wonky then. Maybe she was supposed to be younger than she looked.
There
in
was
it,
a
I don't
lot of
know.
things that were wonky.
There was like the editing I mentioned here was super jumpy and weird. Like it was like all over the place. Very like these fade to blacks on everything, almost like they were going to go to a commercial.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was not a movie that was on TV. But they were, really weird cuts. And then Sarah, we commented, kept making a face like somebody farted. Like smell the fart acting, kind of
Yeah.
like Joey
It was just like
Tribbiani. A lot. And then the guy that she's hanging out with has this weird like
full haircut.
pseudo bowl cut.
Like
and he-
this.
Yeah. And he looked kind of like, like Boris Karloff's Frankenstein's monster. Like he's got kind of that same kind of haircut.
But skinny and weird.
And looked older than he was. Then we meet Lydia, and I kept singing Lydia the Tattooed Lady because Lydia is not a super common name.
Is that her friend?
Yeah, that was the one that was she was kind of
She was her friend in the beginning, and then she was like,
became like
I'm
a
gonna
jerk.
start dating this guy that's like with your like he definitely tried to assault her in a like not a nice way, and so she's
Yeah.
like, I know he assaulted you, but I'm gonna go out with his friends.
And she's got no shame in her game about that either.
No.
Like I wrote down here that all of her friends and family are jerks because the people she lives with are jerks. All the people around her are
Bunch
jerks.
of jerks in this movie.
She wrote it too because they were all just jerks to her, except for the guy with the bowl haircut. That I think
Seth.
he was just happy that somebody liked him because he had a bowl haircut.
Yeah. So the college that they were in was weird too, because it's like a paranormal science college.
Right. That was the weird part.
I
Maybe she
wrote
went to like
science.
junior paranormal college, and then after that she did 4 more years in the the
Yeah.
paranormal university.
Because
maybe?
they were talking about ESP and how it's a real thing based on like real science or something like that.
they kept referring to the science backs up this, or this is the
Yeah.
science fact.
Now
or
that we know
whatever.
that ghosts are real because we've done science work on it kind of thing. And I'm just like, what?
They
You
were
know,
doing
I'm,
science.
yeah. And I'm not like, discrediting anyone who likes paranormal science and like paranormal research
No.
and stuff like that. But like
we love that
to
kind
have
of
a
stuff.
full university that was like backed by it, it was like kind of a different like world maybe that they did discover ghosts, and like all of that was peer reviewed, studies, and like they've come to a conclusion that ghosts are real, and that kind of thing. The
Science.
1111 part was really annoying because like it kept showing up in weird spots sometimes, but like it didn't really make sense with the scene that it was in. Like the clock would be 1111, and I'd be like, "Ooh, yeah." And then it'd show up in blood, or like it would show up in other ways, but you didn't really like find out what 1111 was. I still don't really feel like I know what 1111 was. I know it was like a passage or whatever in like this book they found.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like she was eating Twizzlers and she dropped them and they were like 1111 and she like tripped and fell and there was a board that popped up that had 1111 written on the side of it. None of that happened.
None of that happened.
But
it was annoying because I'm like, what's up with 1111? Are we ever going to find out?
And she saw dead people, obviously. She saw the little girl ghost, who incidentally in this world, ghosts can grow up, because this woman
and wear really bad
was
wigs,
grown up and had a wig on.
Horrible red wig.
So apparently even in the afterlife, you may need a wig. But it was weird because like the little girl ghost that was her friend, I think that was Lydia, maybe.
No, her name was Raiden.
Oh, Raiden, right. Yeah, she had a wicker hat on and she shot electric at people.
Like, what is it? What
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Raiden.
Test your might. But anyway, so the Raiden was trying to protect her, and so anytime somebody was out to get her, which everybody in her life was a jerk except for Bull Haircut McGee
and Raiden
and Raiden herself, she'd kill them, and then they would come back as ghosts, and she would see the ghosts.
Dude, and the way that they came back was so lame. Like, so her aunt was a jerk. Her aunt actually started sleeping with the guy that was like trying to sexually assault her. Yeah, I was like, she goes, I didn't know that this is the guy you were talking about. And then she was like super rude and super mean to her niece, who she raised because like her parents were dead. And so she's like, you need to leave, like just being a major jerk. So she's like, I wish you would drown. So then she drowned.
She got drowned by.
But when she drowned,
Raiden.
like we watched her drown. We knew she drowned. It was like a really long shot of her face going like in the water. And then the weird cuts that he was talking about. So it would like fade to black, and then you'd see her and she was like in the bathtub. She'd wake up and she's like, oh, I'm fine kind of thing. And she got up and she was like looking at herself in the mirror, and she had like a cut on her head, and she's like, oh, and then all of a sudden she just like starts coughing out water like weirdly, and then turns and looks and sees herself dead in the bathtub, and she's like, no! Like, and it just, anytime someone would die from like this thing, that you would see them, they would like go, man, I'm glad I'm not dead, and then they'd be like,
I'm dead.
No! There was no reason for that. Like, it would have been more effective.
There.
Yeah, it would have been more effective if they would have just died instead of like then getting resurrected.
They came back as ghosts.
Yes, they got resurrected and then saw themselves die, and then that's when they're screaming. Like, and it was like just no! I was like, what's the point of them dying, waking up, saying no, and then disappearing?
And
it's not like they hung out after that. They were just gone.
And I wrote here, it's 11:11 somewhere, am I right? So then they're looking at some old materials and they're trying to figure things out. And they come across this video that they had gotten from her aunt, I think, was it?
Yeah.
Of two little girls playing back in like, looked like the 50s maybe.
And he's like, I cleaned up the video so we can watch it.
So they're watching this, and then she's like, oh, what's that? And she realizes that Raiden is in the background, a little girl ghost. Incidentally, she was
like, that's my friend Raiden that I've known for my entire life.
And you can't really make her out. She's really in the distance. She's very blurry. The shot isn't there. And then all of a sudden they pull like an NCIS thing, and they're like, enhance. And they enhance it to the point where Raiden is like
super clear,
super crisp, super clear. And then she like turns at the camera and pulls like a Ring 2 thing. And it's like, they're like, oh my gosh, it's
like,
terrible.
Ding.
And then there's a passage in the thing about 11:11 where they talk about the dolphins are going to turn on the humans.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you specifically referencing the dolphins? And then they cut to a newscast later where they're like, such and such were viciously attacked by dolphins who are the friends of humans or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm like, who wrote this and why?
And it's supposed to be like the end of the world, right? Like this is bringing about the end of the world.
Yeah. And I wrote here that the name of the school was the School for Totally Real Paranormal Science and Stuff, which is not the name of
No.
the school.
Mm-mm.
Then I wrote there was the Bad Wig Brigade. And then we got to the amazing ending.
Nothing.
It was not amazing.
Nothing
It was
is
not
resolved.
even really an ending. It was just kind of like done.
Yep. Like the world doesn't end. Like nothing. Nothing.
Raiden like doesn't really die, but kind of dies, but then isn't really dead. And I don't know. It's this weird, like just innocuous
It just
kind of like
didn't.
thing that ended.
Yeah. I was
poorly.
like, please don't tell me that's the end. And it was.
And it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
So
was a thing we watched.
it was a thing we watched. Do you have final thoughts?
I did because you reminded me to write it. So
I
I
did.
wrote, just because you can make a movie doesn't mean you should.
And I said, Hell's Gate 11:11 is a slow-moving snooze fest that seems like a TV movie with cheesy jump scares.
That's pretty accurate.
So if you were going to rate it on a scale up to
Rate it?
5, or rating it, yeah, of a scale up to 5, but can be as negative as you want it to be, out of pouty mouths,
Oh.
like,
Well, because we had fun talking about it and there was things about it that were just so comical that we couldn't not enjoy those aspects of it, I gave it a 0.25 out of 5.
I gave it a negative 10.
Ouch. Yeah, I
Not
gave
a
it a
fan.
little bit of credit because of the funny stuff that we got back.
Not the worst movie I've seen, but yeah, I have been rating things like with things I like and things I don't, and there's more things I don't like than there was things I like, and the only thing that I liked was the fact that her name was Raiden,
She's got a pro and con column, as we mentioned before in previous episodes.
because it was fun to talk about.
Incidentally, this is episode 101. Anyway, all right. So
Yeah. So if they do not want to watch this movie, what would you recommend that they should watch instead?
I tried to look to make sure we hadn't recommended this before. I know we've discussed it before because we're big Toni Collette fans, both of us. But I'm going with 1999's The Sixth Sense because
They see dead people.
Haley Joel Osment's character can see dead people. He sees lots of dead people, except that the dead people want his help. They don't want to hurt the people around him.
Hopefully you have already seen it.
It's from 1999. If you haven't seen it by now, 26 years later, you don't want to see it.
Yeah.
But we do recommend that you watch it. It's an excellent film. So,
26 years.
right? Yeah, Haley Joel Osment is all beardy and making a name for himself again.
Like, no,
you know?
that's not a thing.
And Toni Collette is still kicking ass.
Yeah, she is. She's amazing. She just gets better. She's like a fine wine.
I mean, she was great to begin with.
She
but
just
yeah,
gets better with I just
We are fans.
chef's kiss. I
I'm assuming you're going to blow it up.
am gonna blow it up. Where did Shaggy go? I don't
He's
want
right
to.
there.
I don't want to make him sad. But here we go.
He jumped, but and what you can't help but not jump when there's that big of an explosion. All right,
All right, what are we watching next week?
next week, and we left the thing on for a reason. We are watching from
We left-
2000.
What thing on?
The sticker on the.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Yes. Okay. So Island of the Dead. I got this for him at 608 Vintage, which is I think that's the name of the actual store. The 608 Vintage.
It's in Janesville, which
Yeah,
are
it's in Janesville, Wisconsin.
our friend.
It's a really cool vintage antique store. They've got multiple levels. So there's like, I think there's a basement.
3 levels. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
basement.
And then there's an upstairs. There's multiple rooms. And so like, there's like one whole side and then you can go on the other side and there's more things over there. There's artists that sell their art, like our friend Denna.
She actually
So
has art that's
the
on the
art
wall.
by Denna Tullis. So
That she
yeah.
painted for them a mural.
she did paint a mural for them. She actually has her art that you can buy there as well.
Yep.
I'm sure there's probably other artists that we know. Sorry that we're not shouting out your names, but we are shouting out 608 Vintage. I think that's the name of it.
I'll double check and I'll put it
Yeah,
up here.
it says 608 Vintage on here, so I don't know if that's because they have different vendors. So I don't know if that's the name of the vendor for that particular thing, or if I'm pretty sure that that's what it is though, because it says this is booth 5.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
It's in Janesville, Wisconsin. It's a really cool store. I highly recommend you go there. And if you do, there's a ton of really cool coffee shops in Janesville. I actually work in Janesville now. So you can stop at any of those really rad places. Bodacious is right down the street. So that's one of my favorite. But it's called The Island of the Dead, and I'm super excited about it because there are some people in it that we like Malcolm McDowell and Mos Def. Who's Bruce Ramsey? You know who that is?
Yeah, but well, you'll find out.
We'll
if you
find
don't know.
out.
Yeah, I know who he
wait.
is, but I don't want to spoil anything.
I know this. Yeah, I know that person. Okay. So, millionaire developer Rupert King, which is Malcolm McDowell, has his sights set on developing Hart Island in New York City's harbor. For over a century, New York City has buried their unknown dead there in mass graves. However, King disrespects the dead and is sure their final resting place will be the perfect. Well, will be perfect. Sorry, not the perfect. It will be perfect for his exclusive development. But when King is stranded on the deserted island for the night, he soon becomes hunted by the ravenous predators that lie buried beneath the earth.
Huh.
That sounds fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Well, I'm excited. It's got something a little different from the haunting of such and whatnots.
Yeah,
Plus Malcolm
we'll see.
McDowell.
We'll see.
I'm sure it will not be as good as we're hoping, but we'll find out.
All right. Well, once again, we would like to thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you, tuning in, or if this is your first time, hopefully you'll come back. And then until next week,
Keep it cheap and creepy.
bye.
Doesn't mean you should go chasing the dead.
It may be your robot, but it's my house.
I want to get a close look at these sharks.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, I'll be careful.
Oh, well, if it's not my good friend Raiden. Now, Raiden, I want to just take a step back and reevaluate our friendship. Because I just feel like every time I'm in a jam, you always seem to bounce, and I don't think that makes you a good friend. Now, why don't we take the opportunity that we have right now just to get to know one another a little bit better?
Oh, hell no.